Okay, so here's my Austin Halleck bolt project essentially finished. I'm gonna take and get the firing pin and the nose piece hardened at least. So here's the bolt. I got the handle made, welded on, all the little corners rounded that I needed around. Had to cut a little extra out here if you saw the other video. That's what was stopping it from rotating all the way up to the stop in the receiver. Drilled a pressure relief hole in the side there. Got the firing pin, threaded a little, or machined a little hex on the end of it so you can adjust the protrusion of the firing pin with a little socket. It's a 732. Yeah, 7/32 socket. We'll adjust the firing pin protrusion. The nose piece is built after the Savage design, where the cap goes in to a little track and sits in there. Breech plug. It's got a small hole in it, and then a larger hole for quite a little ways up in there, but I think it was, I wrote the measurements down, it's about, I think it was 700 thousandths deep. So anyway, I'm up into here to where that small hole starts, so there's a little bit of a pressure relief chamber in there. And it's rounded on the inside with a small hole for the flame channel. The nose piece, I drilled and threaded a small set screw to hold the nose piece in. You can see I did it with the nose piece in. I just drilled in just enough to leave a little dimple so it wouldn't damage the threads when that set screw's tightened. Here's the little dinky set screw. See if we can get it to focus on it. Took a 1-inch long set screw and cut it off so it left a point on it. Here we got a little bitter focus there. I put it on my thumbnail. It seems to want to focus on my rotten thumbnail. Anyway. And then the spring. So the spring goes in, firing pin goes in against the spring. The hammer goes in the backside. The firing pin threads into the hammer. And then the nose piece goes on and threads in. Just for sake of time, I'm not going to mess with it and screw it all together, but anyway, you get the idea there. That'll thread all the way in. And then this shoulder here, the shoulder right here is a couple thousandths smaller than this shoulder here. So when it goes in, it pulls it centered. I did that just in case anything was off in my machining, which it is. Threading's tough, especially single point threading on a lathe. It's tough to get your threads, internal and external threads, spot on. So Anyway, kind of pleased with how it has turned out. It fits in the gun well. Here is a spent cap, and you can see it stayed nice and shiny on the outside, so I didn't get a lot of blowback past the primer. Now that may change when we get a load on the gun. I had to custom fit the breech plug. You can see that primer sticks out a little bit above the top of the breech plug, but that's because of the little ridge on the nose piece. And I cut out of that pocket with a 45-degree angle there, and that just matches the angle here. So when this is all put together in the gun, the nose piece actually touches the breech plug, and the 209 primer just bottoms out. Not quite, but within it. Well, there it is bottomed out, but it's also swelled because it's been shot. Anyway, I used a feeler gauge with the bolt put in. As I rotated the bolt down into the recess that holds the handle in place, I'd use a feeler gauge in here to figure out how much I had to cut off from the back side of the breech plug to get it to where it just touched. And it does, when you put it together, it does just touch as it closes. So we've got, really, if this primer fails, it's going to blow out the side. When this thing is all the way threaded in, and the bolt handle's in the down position, that's out, almost 90 degrees horizontal. So if that primer blows, it's going to blow out sideways away from you. And then I also drilled this relief hole in here for any pressure that may make it back through the bolt if something fails. Hopefully it'll come out that relief hole rather than go back into your cheekbone. So anyway, there it is. It's been a long time in the making, but it's finally finished.